and welcome to Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. As always, I'm Miss Fleming, your instructor for this course. This is Unit 4, Towards the Future, Section 1, Lesson 1, on television, film, and documenting history. The history of people from this place began inspiring filmmakers from away as early as the 1930s. By the 1970s, several homegrown filmmakers began capturing stories from an insider's perspective. And through the latter half of the 20th century, many Newfoundland and Labrador film and television projects gained national and international attention, solidifying our place in the industry. Let's talk about some early film moments. The first movie theatre opened in Newfoundland in 1907, inside the Benevolent Irish Society's St. Patrick Hall in St. John's. The theatre is called the Nickel Theatre after the price of admission. In 1931, a film by Varick Frizzell was filmed for Paramount Pictures, and it was about a love story during the seal hunt. Unfortunately, an explosion on a sealing vessel killed Frizzell, and the film was ultimately lost. In 1946, the Commission of Government paid a British film company to capture a feature called The Island Story, casting local actors, but decided not to release the film outside of Newfoundland and Labrador. Film is an excellent way to document the people and experiences of this place. The National Film Board of Canada, or NFB, was founded in 1939, producing many documentaries and short films from across the country. And actually, two prominent National Film Board films were featured in our last unit, if you recall, which was The Last Days of Okek and 54 Hours. Documentaries began being produced in the 1960s about the people who live here, and about our culture and history. A prominent television docuseries called Land and Sea premiered in 1964 and is still airing today on CBC. You may be familiar with the very nostalgic-sounding theme song, and countless episodes are about the lives and experiences of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. And actually, in 1972, an episode of Land and Sea called Nain, the People of Torngat, won the Wilderness Award for the best film on CBC. Now I wanted to talk to you about the FOGO process, which is a process in documentary filmmaking. In 1967 into 68, Fogo Island became the birthplace of an influential kind of documentary filmmaking. The director of the Extension Department at Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador produced a docuseries highlighting people involved in the inshore fishery, resettlement, and issues of poverty. This project gained support from the National Film Board, and they filmed community members offering an analysis of the controversial issues that had been dividing the people. Many people expressed anger that the government appeared to be imposing decisions on them without community input. In 1967, there were 5,000 people living on Fogo Island in 10 different communities, and they all had separate amenities, so even though it was a small place, they were all very isolated. And when the films were shown to an audience of 3,000 people over 39 screenings, the people realized that their different communities had more in common than they thought. The films offered controversial political criticism, but it was decided to show them to Premier Smallwood and his cabinet. After which, the Minister of Fisheries was then filmed responding to the films from the government's point of view. And this is where it comes in. It's a two-way communicative style, and it was instrumental in organizing social action. The Fogo Island film series was so impactful it was given the name the FOGO process, and documentary filmmakers will still do this today, having this two-way communicative style and having it impact social change. Documentary filmmaking is not the only form of filmmaking in this province. Many stories are told through television and film from Newfoundland and Labrador's residents, profiling culture and human experience. In 1971, Gordon Pinsent, who's depicted in this picture below, teamed up with the Hollywood director Peter Carter to film an adaptation of Pinsent's book, The Rowdyman. And this film was a commercial and critical success, and it really helped solidify Gordon Pinsent's career, which then spanned up until his death, where he passed away in his 90s, which had a wonderful career. In 1977, filming began on The Adventure of Faustus Bidgood. Now this was important because it was the first feature film to be both shot in the province and produced by Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Television from Newfoundland and Labrador became a prominent venture in the 20th century as well. For example, there's Yarns from Pigeon Inlet, and if that sounds familiar, you got to rewind your brain all the way back to Unit 1, where we talked about storytelling, and Ted Russell's radio stories, which we profiled there, were then turned into a television show called Yarns from Pigeon Inlet. Additionally, Codco, which we talked about in Unit 3, it's a theatre company and theatre show with various sketches. Codco was then turned into a television series as well, and both of these shows were featured on CBC. In 1986, a feature film titled Finding Mary March was made, and it was a historical drama about the search for Beothuk burial sites and a possible descendant of Dumasduit. This was a very impactful film at the time, and if you'd like to watch it, you can actually watch it in full through the Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador's archives, and I highly suggest you watch it. Lastly, let's talk about NIFCO and their legacy. NIFCO, which is an acronym for Newfoundland Independent Filmmakers Cooperative, was founded in 1975. Their primary purpose was for filmmakers to share resources and talents on locally produced films. And NIFCO continues today and has supported the careers of many filmmakers. It's been an integral part of film festivals in the province and has birthed the careers of many. And we will actually highlight more of these impacts in the next lesson. Okay, now it's time to review. I'm going to ask you to please complete the activities in Brightspace. I have a wonderful activity there so you can watch many of the films in the POGO process, and I hope you have a great day.